Hello, I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to do triangulation. All right, so it's really hard to say and it's easy to do. All right, so what we're going to do now, I'm doing this for a really close friend of mine to make sure that she fully understands because I know she'll be able to really use it. And, I just really was thinking of her and I really wanted to make sure she didn't have any questions. So here we go. We're going to do this. We're going to change the video, all right, so that we have an area that I can look at the paper, and so can you, all right? And we're going to do this train station, all right? So the first thing we're going to do is just going to make a window, all right, so that we have our composition, all right, similar. I'm just going to try and fit it on our rectangle here so you can see it. All right, and the first thing we're going to do is just kind of do a sketch. So I'm going to put the sketch in, all right, kind of the way that I think it is, okay? And just looking at the divisions and some of the sizes, okay? And that's the first thing we do. We just put our sketch in, all right? So that we're sure that we have the design that we want, the placement, just generally the feeling of the composition. And, hopefully you've drawn it well enough that it works. All right, so we'll see what we get here. Okay, but so this is somewhat the composition that we have. All right, and I can even go into putting in the roof and some of the sides of the building and some of the sections and even some of the windows. All right, just for placement. All right, so there's our initial sketch. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we get the top of the steeple in and that we get the height of the building. We also want to make sure that we get this tree in. All right, so those are the 3 points that we're going to use to make sure that this is working. And we're going to establish one length of line that's going to determine all of that. So we're going to go with this line here. All right. So we're just going to draw a line down the center of the building, and that's going to give us a certain length, all right, that we have. And we can actually line our crayon up on the line and see if we have it the way we want it, the angle, and we bring that angle back here. All right. So now we want to make sure that we can get this in. So the next thing we do is we go from here to here by holding our crayon and lining it up like that, and then bringing it back to the paper, and you see the angle that this crayon's on. All right, so we can go from the top there, we can come down, and it's coming across here like this. All right, so that's one of the lines. We don't know where it stops. It can continue as long as we wanted it to. All right, but the next line, we've established this distance, and the key to this is always to have your crayon on the angle of the line when you put the points down. All right. So now we're going to go back to that same point by using the bottom of the building like this. All right. And we're going to go like this. Well, when I look at that angle, which is similar to about here, okay, when I look at that angle and we come up, okay, it's about right here. Okay, so the thing about that is that if we want this down here, we need to make this line longer. All right, so we're going to bring that line down to there. Then when we go and we line up our line to it, okay, and we bring it back, it's much closer. All right, so this is one of the things about a length of line. If you want these in your composition, you want to make sure that that length of the line is long enough so when you go to use this angle like this, all right, and you bring it back here, that you see that it hits and intersects with that line somewhere there. All right, so this is where the top of the tree is. All right, this is where the base of the building is. A lot of this may move over. We're going to see. All right, but one of the things is that we can wind up deciding, you see this right here? Okay, what we want to do is we want to line up our crayon with the base of the building. And the base of the building, by the way, is going downhill, all right, a little bit. all right? And we want to find that corner. So we come from the top up here to that corner. So we go like this. So this is where the corner of the building is. And most likely it's leaning in. Okay, because that's how lines are when you're looking up at them. So then the next line is over here. So we're just going to come from the top of the building to here, like that. All right? So we're just going from here to here, and that's going to give us the width of this line. See? So now we can kind of line up our lines. All right? And we don't know where this ends up here, but we could go from one of these points now to that section, and it's right about here. So this is where this section is. All right, and we can line up our line to make sure we got it at an angle because there's a perspective in here. All right, and then the next section is up here somewhere. All right, we can use these two lines if they're accurate enough to find the sections. All right, and the easiest way is to do the opposite section. So we go from here to here. All right, like that, and then we come from here to here, like this. And where they cross, that's where that end of the building is. It's a little bit, there's a little bit of a thing here, so you just keep that in mind. So then the next one, and we can line this up like this. It's going to go somewhere like this. All right, and because we hit here, all we have to do is line up our line, and there's the section. All right, and then the third section is just a little small angular piece right here. And you can just kind of go like that and come from this end and go up, and where they intersect, that's where it's going to be. All right, and then the last one obviously is lining up like that. All right, so there's the height of our tower. We have this line going back this way. See how I line my lines up? All right, and it goes back so far. How far back does it go? Just line up your line from here to here like this. All right, and it's going to go somewhere in here. And then that's going to be the side of the building. Okay, so that's pretty much how that is made. All right, the next thing is, let's see where the trees are. We can come from this point. We can go right to the trees, and where they hit the building, and they hit the building right about here. So this is where the line of trees are. And honestly, I had them up there. All right, so now we're going to come over here to this side right here. Kind of bring a line like that. And we can come from one of these points to it, like this. And this is going to be the width of this section. All right? And we have the roof up there. We can use any of these points. All right? I can go from here to here. And where it hits, that's where it's going to be the roof. And I can line up my line, by the way, to make sure I get that. And then this is going across a little bit more up, maybe. All right, like this. So now we have that. And as far as the distance back is concerned, once we've established this distance and we have a point, we can go from there to it. So there's our distance for where the shadow is. All right, and then we have the building, and we can kind of line up our line from that. Kind of goes up like this. We don't know how high it goes, so we'll come from this point here to it, like this. All right, we'll line up our crayon, see? All right, and come from that point to it, and it's about right here. So it's not a big roof for this size, all right? So this building is smaller than this one, okay? So I think that this is one of the things right now. We're not going to worry about that, but that's the kind of thing. And then this kind of goes like this here. And we can use any of these points to find where it ends. All right, maybe that point. That's right here. So that's where it ends, and it kind of goes in. And you know, you can fudge some things if you want, but we've managed to get everything to fit here. And distance-wise, there's a certain distance in here, and we can use any of these points to find it. All right, it's about like that. So there's your distance for that roof. Okay. And then this section here, sometimes you can just line lines up. This line is going in, by the way, so it's kind of going up like that. And then we can kind of come across because we have that. It's a little bit lower than this, and you could do that by just coming from this point to it. All right, like here. All right, and that would be from here to here. And so this is the section right now in between, and you can see that they pretty well line up together there. All right, and you want to line up your line, make sure it's right, make sure this is right. Okay, and then we have our two smokestacks. We can locate those very easily by going from that point to them and from this point to them. All right, and those smokestacks are right about here. Okay, so now when we look, we have the roof here. All right, sort of, okay, maybe a little bit lower. All right, and then because it lines up right above the, right above this. All right, so we got that there. And then from there, we have a little bit of something that kind of goes straight out, just a little bit down. We're not going to measure that part, but we can come from this point to find where the point of that is, and it's about right there. And then this kind of goes down like this. All right, you see? And then it goes into the roof there. And this building comes down so far. How far does it come? Well, we can go from that point to where it is. All right, this is all triangulating. So this is about right to here. Okay, and then that kind of goes back there like that. All right, so you can see that we've managed to get the building in. All right, let's talk about the train track. Train track is kind of going straight here. All right, I misdrew it. But let's go back to the tree right now because we want to go from there to the tree. All right, and we want to go from here to the tree and somewhere in here. This is about the height of the tree, okay? And as far as its width is concerned, all right, we want to find its width. We can use one of those points, about right to here, all right, and then go over to the other side, about right to here. So this is the shape of the tree, all right? And then, of course, we can even line that up, but we can take this back and we can see where things line up relative to that too. All right. So now we have the trees here, and we want to, by the way, go make sure that we have that right. This tree should come to about right here. This set of trees, and sometimes you can make that as a mistake, so you have to really eyeball things. All right. This is just a preliminary to get things in. All right. And we have some space in here, you know, and we have that, and of course we have the tree. Maybe move it over a little bit just to make it work a little bit better. All right, so there we go. So that's the triangulating of the building, finding the tree. We want to find this line here. We'll come from this point here to it, line up our crayon, line it up, bring it back here, bring it down. All right, we can use this corner and come to it. All right, which would be like that. Come back here, come back down, and somewhere in here. So this is where this track would work. We want to go over to the edge. All right, so we're going to go use one of those. That's over here. All right, so this curve is going to go like that. Okay, and then since that's coming out of there, all right, we want to find where this is. So we just come down from here to there like this. All right, like this. Make sure you got the right angle. All right, and then come from the other side. So here's where our point is. Now our tracks go back here like this and go to this. All right. So now, you know, there's maybe a little bit of play in here distance wise, but you have a shadow that comes out. All right. And you have some information in here, and then you have the tree back here. Okay, like that. So now here's your train track. And if you wanted to know exactly where that one was, you come here like this, and then come from this one to it. So it's about right here. So this is where this one would be coming out of. And if we wanted the windows, we would just find a window like that and come from here to it. And this is where the height of the windows are. All right, the second section is up there. And right here. So this is where the second section of windows are. Okay, and then you can go ahead and shade it. But this is the triangulating, and I think that if you can use it, employ it, just keep in mind that the key to triangulating is to find one line and decide its length. And you always want to line your crayon up with whatever that is and come back here like this. All right, but you arbitrarily decide how big this building is. All right, and then what you want to do is look at the perspective of the building and line your line up on the building like that, and line up your line on the building like this. All right, so we don't know how long these lines are, but we do when we have that top to go to it. All right, and so there's the point. So line up your line with whatever line on the building and draw it and let it go all the ways up, and then come from this one, line it up, come over here, and you have it. Same way here. You want to know how long this line is? Come from here to it, like that. Okay, it's going to give you the there, and then line up your crayon with the edge. It's going to go like this. And then this is very easy because you can line things up here like this. By, that's the angle of the building. So that's where they intersect. So that's the triangulating. Now we have a roof. We line up our line with the roof. We don't know where it stops. Once we have these points, we can use these. So we can line up from that point to it, and it's like this. And there's your roof. Now you can line the edge of the roof up, but you don't know where it stops, but you're already here. So you can just line up from there to the top of the roof, and there's your building, okay? So if you don't understand that, that's very important. You want to know where a window is, you line up your crayon to a window, all right? The top, say, of the window, come here, line it up to the top of the window, all right? The window's going to be here. We don't know how long it is. We come from the bottom here and line up to the bottom of the window. Okay, and then line up to and now here's the side of the window. So this is the window. We may not know how wide it is. All right, so we can find out how wide it is as well by using any of these points and finding, like for instance, this line is going like this. All right, so we can use this point to the edge of the window here, and it's going to say the window's that wide, and we can use this point to the end of the window here by lining it up, of course. And there's the window. Okay, so that's really important to understand. All right, with that, I think you should be able to make all this work. And I'm going to say, if you have any questions, just give me a call. All right, I'll do my best to explain it again. This is not easy. I was just joking earlier. And honestly, I expect to have to do this, and now I have it. So any student that has a question, I can always refer them to this video. All right, with that, I'm going to say goodnight, and we'll see you sometime in the future. All right, bye.